someone from the Spotify team is here, please, let's start with your presentation.
Just 1 second.
Okay, but there are only 8 people in our meeting. Okay, let's get started, and we will wait someone else while we will see it.
I hope you can see my presentation. So today we'll introduce innovations for our platform Breathe. It's a respiratory care platform. We tried to choose innovation based on functions that we presented before. So first innovation is from medication tracker is electronic vial cap. We can collaborate with different startups that works with such technologies. This technology was introduced firstly in 2018. So the system includes an app that promotes patients to take medications, an electronic vial cap that records when a patient opens the vial, and cloud-based service that monitor the progress and send updates to the doctor or other prescriber. So we could provide the functions of app that promotes patients to take medicine and monitor the progress and updates. The system begins when, in general, the system begins when a pharmacist programs the electronic in the vial cap when dispensing the prescription, a process that takes just a few seconds using a QR code or barcode scan. And the software pulls the patient information and dosing information from the pharmacy database to automatically program the cap. So in our country, we have some different system of medication prescription. So the activation of work of electronic vial cap would be possible by patients themselves by using instruction from the app. And for delivery these containers with electronic vial cap, we would use the systems that we apply for delivering the tests from the lab. The mobile app features alarm time reminder that are meant to encourage the patient to closely follow their schedule with permission from the patients. The system notifies family members, providers, insurers, so pharmacists when the medication was taken and when it was missed. So it would be useful for disabled people to follow their schedule by the help of their surrounders. So for the symptoms diary and test, there is a unified solution is big data analysis, accurate analysis with including in model database of all users and data from general analytical reports of patients all over the world, and adapted notifications and the form for users based on personal experience of using CAP. Also about data, about environmental conditions, besides the general big data analysis of different reports and knowledge that acquired by agencies, we can collaborate with startups that provides monitor of air quality. There is different variety of these monitors. It can be indoor and outdoor monitors. So provider of AI-based autonomous monitoring technology provides a solar-powered autonomous monitoring system for remote monitoring of environmental parameters. This monitoring system uploads the data collected on a periodic basis to the cloud, where it is analyzed. The continuous flow of data can be used to set up alerts of downstream processes in case of any dangerous or unwanted behavior due to emissions of pollutions. So the last point of our innovation presentation is educational content. So we mentioned that we should make educational content not only for a general audience, but also for children and teenagers. So to adapt this educational process for them, make it more appropriate for this audience, we can introduce interactive content in game form. So adapting general education content for children in form of games with a clear interactive structure to encourage self-care and increase awareness.
Good, thank you. Let's move to the section of questions, and the first one will be RSLs.
Thank you for your presentation. I will ask the first question from our team. How will you select startups for cooperation within the framework of electronic wildcard technology? You said about it on the first slide.
We would be interested in startups that are ready to provide their technologies in Russia, are ready to make a logistic system of transfer these devices in Russia and adapt them to our software that also would be in appropriate local language. So I think it would decrease the variety of startups significantly, and it would be much easier choice.
Okay, I understand you. And the second question is, do you think it would be better for you to train your team to implement the technology or hire a new specialist, for example, in the field of big data?
You mean in terms of software support and development?
Software, yeah.
I think it would be better to train our existing team, and because where the first stages of developing the platform by itself would be ended, they would have only a supporting role, so it would be a great opportunity to keep them in full mode of working with us and give them opportunity to realization their skills in future. So we creating a loyal team.
Okay, and our final question, what results do you expect from implementation of proposed technologies?
In general, it's obviously increase in users who are ready to use our app, their involvement in all our functions that we could provide, and the rise in our sales of full subscription. And if we could specify, it would create more accurate system of prediction of different conditions that would help to control disease and decrease general dangers for them. I think something like that, and encourage our competitors to came up with other ideas that may help market to develop. So, other questions?
Yeah, that's all from the sales team and the Skillbox, please. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. And our first question, as I understand, your target audience are adults with 1 second. With certain diseases. And why do you think that it will be relevant to implement such technology for children about as I understand, your technology is about to give knowledge children about their health?
Firstly, when I presented the STP model, I've mentioned that we don't have differentiating and targeting of different age groups because we have like main criteria is the respiratory conditions. So it's not our target. It's not mentioned that our target audience is adults. So it's first. So children also has chronic respiratory conditions. And we've mentioned that we would create the content for not only for our app specifically, but for our promotion of our app. So the content should be pretty diverse to involve different people, and we should produce content for pretty long time to support our marketing campaigns. So it would be a good idea to create also content for children. And adults are the consumers that also involve children in their process of consuming. So it seems as a good supplementary idea.
Yes, I agree with you, but about target audience, I think that children cannot care about themselves without their parents, because before 18 years.
But content also created for children, and there may be target audience, like when we create animation specifically for children, they are target audience. And we understand that consumers, like in a legal way of consuming, who pays for that is adults, but they choose characteristics of content based on needs of children. So they understand that too difficult and like maybe scary lecture about different chronic disease that can be appropriate for adults couldn't be appropriate for children. But some instructional, educational content that encourage self-control and self-care of children would be interesting for adults who can introduce this content to their children and bought their full subscription for full content, for example.
Okay, thank you. It's a very interesting idea.
So the second question is, so what about your competitors? Who are your potential competitors, and do they have some of mentioned technologies, your mentioned technologies, in their businesses?
Yeah, there is a couple of apps that make notifications about environmental condition. I don't remember the exact names of specific apps that make this, but there is a couple of apps that works with asthma, with people who have asthma, and make these notifications based on data bought in specific agencies or acquires data from by using big data. So this technology is pretty wide used in the industry, but when we talk about electronic cup file, is technologies that not so widespread in Russia, not connected with specific app for respiratory care conditions. Also, I've mentioned our competitors mostly on previous presentation, and they don't use such devices as well as monitors of air conditions. So, and no interactive content for children in this specific sphere.
Okay, thank you. And our last question is, which of the mentioned technologies is expected to be more profitable and which is easier to implement?
About implementation, I think the analytics technologies that we mentioned for for symptoms diary and for tests is easier to implement, as well as creating some interactive platform for children content, educational content. And the most difficult is to find appropriate startup with appropriate devices for monitors of air quality and electronic cup file, but also there is difficulties in creating software that would satisfy both companies and users and make all other logistic procedures. So it would be most difficult, but at the same time, it seems like most helpful idea that users would like. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation. The last one presentation will be by Skillbox. Now I will spend 2 minutes of your time to show the very important thing. This task was about creating your ideas about the further improving your products, improving solutions and technologies using machine learning or big data or any other solutions that can improve your product in the marketing sphere. But if we will look carefully, we'll find that all of those solutions are about products and a little bit about promotion, nothing about price, nothing about place, as we can find in the 4Ps theory. It means that the current marketing theory is not full to describe all the things that we could measure and find in our life and in current business activities. It means that marketing theory needs to be adapt to the new reality, new environment. For example, from your presentation, educational content. What type of the marketing 4Ps is the educational content? I don't know, really. It's not a product. It's not, of course, about the price. Maybe something about creating uh, um, relationships with your customers, but not at all. It is about creating something and developing any knowledge to them, not only for your customers, for a wide audience too. But it's not about marketing for peace theory, the current marketing theory. Current describe all the activities that we can find in the real life, in the real firms. So the key idea is that marketing needs to be improved, because now we couldn't measure and describe everything that we can see. Okay, thank you so much. Maybe if it's interesting, you will try to find the proofs of my words during the last presentation. If it would be something about price, I didn't get your presentation of the last team. It's bad according to our rules, but I don't know the content. If it will be something about price recognition or estimating right prices, it will be like surprise, and it means that my words are false. Okay, let's move to the last presentation. It will be, I hope that we could have find the surprise in your presentation. The last one team is Skillbox, and Tinkoff and Spotify in this order will be your opponents.
Yes, 1 second, please. Do you see my screen? 1 second.
Yes.
No, not.
1 second, please. I suppose you can see my screen.
Now, yeah.
Yes, and my colleague will start.
Okay, so we have our application Smartly and 3 improvement technologies in our presentation. So the first one is ecological perspective. There is an idea proposed by Google Maps in the sphere of ecology, which we want to support and implement in our app. This is about carbon footprint. So the idea is to build a new routing model that optimizes for lower fuel consumption based on factors like road incline and traffic congestion. And more eco-friendly roads let you choose the road with the lowest carbon footprint. You compare the relative CO2 impact between roads and choose. So you may get a comprehensive view of all roads and transportation models available to your destination. You can compare how long it will take to get there by car, transit, or bike without toggling between tabs. Using advanced machine learning models, maps will automatically prioritize your preferred models and even boost models that are popular in your city. For example, if you bike a lot, will automatically show you more biking roads. About competitors in this sphere, the market of navigating apps can be named as a rapidly growing and developing market. There are a lot of different products which can become potential competitors of our app. Talking about movement to ecologically friendly lifestyle, as we previously said, Google Maps introduced ideas of some eco-friendly technologies, such as quality of air and weather forecast in a region. This information is useful for those who have allergies, or the user lives in large industrial centers in places where forest fires are possible. The service will help to build a road for good weather with minimal harm to health. Also, there is a very popular service nowadays which is connected with eco-friendly lifestyle, and it is called a recycling map. Recycle map is an interactive map which shows recycling centers near the user, and the feedback system integrated into the service helps to make a rating of points and identify the best ones.
Another technology that we would like to implement in the future in our project is the ability to view information about an object by pointing the phone screen at it. As it is, you point your phone at some landmark and you can see its 3D model on your phone. You can twist it, inspect it from all sides without going around the building as a whole. You can also read the necessary information about the object. For example, the year the building was built, the architecture, if we are talking about people who are interested in architecture, or tourists. If we are talking about ordinary people, if we are talking about ordinary buildings, then this technology will provide general information about the building, for example, what companies are in this building. This technology will be very convenient since it often happens that you are looking for a store or cafe, you know its address, but when you come you have to walk around the building for about 5 or 10 minutes to find what you need. This technology will solve this problem as well as enable people to learn more about the architecture and that surrounds them. About competitors. Google plans to introduce new technology which allows to navigate in different places using virtual reality technologies and ability to make purchases online using maps. Yandex provides a search by photo as well as Google. Also, it provides information about particular places. 2GIS is considered to be one of the most precise navigators in terms of placing R. And our last technology is artificial intelligence for tracking the roads. Using artificial intelligence to track and analyze people's roads, this mechanism will track the movement of people around the city, which stores they go to, which places they visit most often. This is necessary in order to collaborate with large companies. The app will display the most relevant ads for users, depending on their tastes and preferences. This way allow us to monetize our app. That is, people will either buy a subscription to our application or watch ads that are more relevant to them. It will be beneficial for stores to cooperate with us since we will have information that is useful to them, but they themselves cannot collect it. And about competitors in this field, we don't know the same technologies and companies of our competitors, but we have an example of similar technology in outdoor advertisement. London has outdoor banners that adapt to the environment and the people who pass by. There is eye tracking technology that reads people's gaze. That is, if a girl looks at a cosmetic store, then an advertisement for a cosmetic store will probably appear on one of the banners. And we created our variation of this technology only our application will be based on the roads of peoples. And now that is all, and we are ready to answer your questions.
Okay, Tinkoff and Spotify. Tinkoff is number one.
First of all, thank you for your presentation. So we've got 3 questions. to different users for different users, but does your app somehow analyze the user's profile? So, for example, age, gender, health status, and so on. So, uh, except his or her roots and a preferable type of transport. I will print it.
I think it would be useful to have this information, but I think we give opportunity to users to fill the profile themselves. That is, if person want to give us this information, he does it. And so, as I understand, or you ask about can we understand the information by characteristics of person, for example, what type of transport he uses.
So, are you going to use some data about not usual routes of a user and not the preferable type of transport, but something about age, gender, health status, I don't know, nationality, and so on?
Do we get this information by analyzing roles of person?
No. I'm going to use it somehow. So the question is not about how you can receive it, I believe.
Okay, I got it. I think, as I say, this information is very useful, but we don't, we will not to imply this action for users. But if person wants to give us this information, yes, we will use it in our goals. But if not, it means that we cannot to use this information.
Okay, thank you for your.
Yeah, may I add?
Yes.
I think there is a very, it is a very complicated question about personal information because nowadays, I think all people are not really willing to share such information with some strange maybe apps. So you asked for, in my personal view, for quite also personal information. Yes, the person may write such characteristics in the profile, but in my opinion, it is not correct to remotely ask about this because at least we will may understand something from the roads of the people. Yeah, if a person every day goes to the cosmetic shop, then we may understand, wow, maybe it is a woman, and make some projections about her age. So in my opinion, it should work like this because we may make some conclusions and we may cooperate with our partners, yes, companies which we are talking about, even with such conclusions without so personal, deep information.
Okay, I got it. The last idea was interesting. So, um, we'll come back to that topic later, but now I would like to ask you, so how are you going to collect data about 3D projections? So, as I am aware of there are no such data now? So you need to collect it by yourself, or are you going to cooperate with some other company?
Thank you for your question. So, of course, we won't collect it by ourselves, and I think it is good to cooperate with some partner company. So there is a company, NAC4, which takes panoramas for Yandex Maps and other organizations, of course, in Russia. And I think it is okay to work with them, to work with this company. So yes, we're gonna collect 3D projection some this way with the help of partner company.
Okay, now I get it. And the last question from Tinkoff team, it's one more time about personal information. Maybe it's just a usual question, but um, all in all, your company is going to collect much more information about mm, your customers than other mm, companies in the same field. So, as you have mentioned, your app can your I don't know models uh, your big data department can even make some conclusions from the data of users of users routes to uh, come up is he um, a male or a female, and what age uh, a- approximately is appropriate. So, and in your presentation, you mentioned that it will be good for many companies to cooperate with your company because your firm can provide them with much data about your users. So it's one more time the question of private information. So if you state that your company is going to cooperate with other companies and share, and in many cases just sell the information about your clients, is it going to be okay with your customers? How do you think?
Could you please write a question in chat, please?
Yeah. Sorry, I tried to clarify it.
It is interesting question about private information again, and we want yes. Yes, we are going to collect information about our users because our app is about locations, about roads, and in any cases, we will get this information from users because, for example, you want to build a road and use our app as navigator, and we can get this information about your roads. It is logical, as I suppose. And we will not sell this information other companies. Our idea in other thing. We want to use this information for collaboration. It means that we want give access to this information other companies that for their using this information, but we want to use this information to create our how to say our own processes that will be set advertising in our apps. I suppose you got my idea.
Frankly speaking, I didn't understand how are you going to cooperate with other companies on the basis of your collected data, but you're not going to share it with them. It's something strange. I don't understand.
For example, as Facebook, they have information about users of Instagram, but they cannot give access to this information to different shops, companies, or someone else. But it works itself. It means that, for example, it's targeting advertisement. That people will see the advertisements that will be interested for them potentially, and we want to create the same how to say the same project.
Okay,
But
so
in
you will use your collected data for your own purposes, but you won't share it with other companies. Okay, I got it.
yes.
That will be all for Think of Team questions. Thank you for your answers.
Yeah, thank you. I hope that you will be successful in your strategy. But finally, the data about roads and generally information about location is one of the most important thing on the market. Finally, we could use it to predict any purchases from online to offline, and to solve the problems of unmeasured offline selling. I hope that you don't need to sell it, but generally I think that is the great opportunity for further steps, maybe to change the strategy. Okay, thank you. And now we're going to the last question from the Spotify team. Please, you're welcome.
So the first question, will be any difference between your function that presented as 3D projection from panoramas that have other big services, or it would be the same function?
So thank you for your question. And usually in this application and these services like Google Maps or Yandex Maps, only large and wide streets are taken for a panorama, and usually the entrances to buildings are not always visible there. And the point of our 3D projection is to understand where the entrance to the particular place is, and so on. So you can inspect the building from all sides, which you cannot do in Google Maps or Yandex Maps, especially if the building is located not on a wide street, or if the building is located on a narrow street, it won't be included in the panorama shooting in these big services as Yandex Maps and Google Maps.
So you've mentioned in answers for previous team that you would use the same companies and services that make panoramas for Yandex, but in your case you said that you will provide more advanced like projections. How it possible by using the same agencies?
So in the previous seminars, we talked about location, place of our apps, of our app Smartly. We said that firstly we'll have our app only in big cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, of course, like Kazan, like Yekaterinburg, and etc. So we have much less cities to take panoramas in, and Yandex Maps and Google Maps, they have quite big territorial, quite big territory. So they should take much more panoramas, especially if we are talking about Google Maps, which is all over the world, and Yandex Maps now isn't only in Russia. It's also in former USSR countries, and I think in some European countries nowadays. Yes, we have less cities, less territory to take, in which we have to take panoramas, and that is why there is less work, and maybe we will pay to the company which takes panoramas more than Yandex Maps, because we have more work. We need to take 3D projection, not just panorama. So that's all.
And the last question, are there any ideas for special promotion for such function to deliver a potential customer the clear understanding of this difference between you and other apps that provide this function?
Do you repeat your question, please?
Have you any ideas how to promote this function to potential customer, to clarify for them the difference between this 3D projection and panoramas of Yandex and Google?
I think it is interesting question, and a bit confusing, because in the beginning, when we started, we thought that we will use the same panoramas for Yandex Maps, but after we see that the panoramas of Yandex Maps are more profitable, we decided to use the same panoramas for Google Maps.
we don't think about it, but I suppose we can use usual advertisements and, for example, on TV or in banners in street, because we will show how it works. For example, I'm so sorry. For example, we can show this 3D model and show how it works. For example, we can show it from other side or write information about this building. And I think people will be interested in it because it is something new. And for example, this technology is more about tourists because they're interested in the architecture of different cities, and they will be interested in it. And and I think so.
Okay, thank you. It's enough. It's enough. Thank you so much. We could hardly find a clear question to your presentation because the whole idea of creating such an application is by using deep machine learning and using big data and of course all the other features in promotion and aggregating and using all the other types of data, not so important as the clear mechanism of creating the best routes, because all your application is about the using machine learning and all your product is about it. So that's why we could hardly find any other question that could be interesting as the possible features later to develop, to create, or to think of. Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. As I said in the beginning of our seminar, the last one will be as the collaboration with the real marketing agency. As you are interested in this seminar, please let me know because I don't know about your schedule. Will you be able to provide this seminar or not? Maybe you will be very busy because of the end of the year and you will have a lot of exams. Please let me know about your schedule. If you will be able to provide it, I will be happy to provide such a collaboration. I hope that meeting with the real members of this market will be great final of the digital marketing course.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, next week we have seminars in our official timetable, so I think that it won't be a problem for everyone who wants to visit it
I
visit
hope.
it.
Okay, I
Yeah.
hope, but I know that sometimes it could be a problem because of the end of the year. Okay, if not, if it's not a problem, it's a good opportunity to meet those people and to have a very interesting discussion. Okay, thank you so much. In this case, I will let you know any details about the this meeting later when I get the presentation from this agency and we discuss the format. I will let you know. But anyway, it will be next week in the same time.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. See you again next week, and I will let you know about the further details. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.